just want to make sure it doesn't get lost on anyone that the greatest Premier League, the greatest team that football ever saw, big quotations, Liverpool, not only did they not end the season unbeaten, whenever it does end, not only did they get knocked out of the FA Cup, they weren't even able to do a Premier League and Champions League double. Absolutely ousted by Atletico Madrid. Now, I'm going to come to you last, Cal, because, you know, you were right. I'm going to say you were right. It's not often you're right, but you were right. So we're going to come to you last. Chiban, you've got an issue with Atletico Madrid and Diego Simeone. I'm not even sure what you got an issue with. You got an issue with something today. They beat Liverpool. You know, I'm happy, he's happy, Yannika's happy. You ain't happy. What is it you're not happy about?
I'm just the stick that Atletico never get. That's what I'm annoyed with. Their football is boring. I cannot stand watching them. They suck the life out of me. It is disgraceful, and no one says anything about this team. No one. And it really annoys me. And you know, you got Jose Mourinho. When he's at certain teams, will play that type of football. Oh, he's poison, it's dead football, park the bus, this, blah, blah, blah. Atletico does it, and they're praised for it, and it stinks. I'm sorry, it stinks, and I hate how they play. And it is horrible that they don't get no stick for it. So you didn't... Masterclass. But you didn't this every week.
You didn't class as a defensive masterclass from Simeone?
No, this is how they play all the time. Everyone's like, oh, they check. No, look at the goals. They were jammy. There's some defensive errors. They did nothing to win that game. It was no masterclass.
Except score 4 goals.
Messed up. That's all it is. Liverpool messed up and got the bobbling balls in the corners and it slides in. Come on, man. What is that? Masterclass? That is horrible. They play horrible. And I don't. Everyone's just only like happy because it stops Liverpool from winning, and everyone hates Liverpool right now. That's all good. That's all well and good. That's not my issue. I don't have an issue that Liverpool didn't win. I have an issue that no one ever gets onto Atletico when they play like this, and it's disgusting. That's my problem.
Yannicka, you think Atletico should get more stick, or is it, I don't know? Do you think the praise they get is justified, or what?
Do you know what? I think it's interesting how a lot of people are saying that's terrible football. You know, we shouldn't be praising them and all this stuff. Because if you look at every time that Man City get beat, that's basically what happens. We have 90% possession. We have shot after shot after shot, wave after wave of attack. And they have 2 shots, score 2 goals and beat us 2-1. And nobody kind of says, oh, it's terrible that they set up like that against Man City. What they say is in order to beat Man City, you have to play like that. So Atletico knew if they went there and played attacking football, Liverpool would beat them. So they had to do what they had to do to go through.
Let me just say something. Atletico would never have turned up any other way. Any other way. They could play against Stockport City and they'll still have everyone behind the ball. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous, that's the point that I'm making.
He's very defensive. He is defensive. I agree.
That's the point that I'm making. Like, it's disgusting. Like, it's sickening. It's boring. It's horrible football, man. I can understand defending and then you attack, hitting the counter, but they are absolute. It's horrible. It's horrible.
You know me.
It's horrible.
I love it. I love it. And I'll tell you what, forget the Liverpool element to it. That's an element. I don't care who you are, I want you to be Liverpool unless it's negative as Man United. So that's a given. But what it is with me, I actually despise what I would call football purists. And I'm, whether you want to label yourself as that way, it's not really matter. But the reason why I say that is, something like what Yannicka said. Man City, it literally, as every time Man City lose, generally, not all the time, generally, especially when they lose to Man United or a bigger team, Yannicka, yes, I'm talking to you, I see tweets like, we didn't play well you know, they can only come and they had to defend, they had to do, and I'm like, football is a game of attack and defence.
Yes.
One team only attacks. That's Man City. All they do is attack.
Understand.
Attack, and no one complains.
Understand.
Atletico Madrid, or Chelsea, or under Jose.
Let's say Atletico.
No, but I'm talking about me personally. Whoever it is, they will come and defend a Burnley. They defend. Or even a Solskjaer at City, they defend. People complain, park the bus, boring football.
Yeah.
Well, excuse me. I tell you, blame the team who only if you're going to blame one team for only doing one thing, defending, blame the other team for only doing one thing, attacking. But you never hear that side of blaming, you know, Man City or whoever it is for only attacking. So I'm like, football's a game of two sides. And as long as there's no cheating and they weren't rolling around, they weren't pressuring the referee, they weren't doing any of that. They were just defending. And I love to see football, and defending's a part of football. And that's why I would never complain about any team sitting back or quote-unquote parking the bus or anything like that. Because for me, you're two managers, and it's your job to beat the other one, as long as it's within the rules of the game.
But the point that I hear that, and that's all I understand, that you have to attack, you have to defend. Atletico don't attack. They just defend.
They scored 3 goals, Javon. What more you want? And four goals over 2 games.
They did not defend. Look,
Javon, they scored in the 4th minute of the first leg. Like, what you want them to do? Go out all out attack?
It's jammy. It's
a goal.
It's jammy.
They
I don't care. It's goals.
Liverpool. I don't think Liverpool had a shot on target in the first leg. Blame them.
And I'm blaming Liverpool, yes, for being very defensively sloppy, letting in those things go in, because that's what Atletico live off. Oh yeah, we're gonna sit back, we're not gonna do nothing, we're just gonna sit, stop them from going here and there, and then as soon as they make a mistake, you know, the ball's just gonna make sure the ball taps the feet so it can just wobble in sideways. That's not playing football, man.
I think it is. Why is it not?
That's not. They haven't played. They just sat there for 90 minutes.
They scored 4 goals in 100 and I'm gonna say 80, but it's even more than that. 210 minutes.
Understand, but those goals were all just mishap goals. They didn't earn those goals, man. But they didn't play to get those goals. They didn't play.
I'll tell you what happened. They scored in the...
A corner comes in and it just falls on their head and slides in. They didn't play.
They scored.
What is that? No, stop.
They scored in the 4th minute of a 180-minute match. And Liverpool had 180 minutes to score 2 goals with all the ball.
But how can they score if all they're doing is just
the same way Atletico did? Get a corner and bundle it in. Like, I don't care how you do it, do it. I don't care how you do it.
They didn't play. They just got lucky.
They did what they had to do. And the moment Liverpool went ahead, they said, all right, let me go score again.
No.
That's what they did. All right, let me go score again.
They got lucky again.
Let me go score. And they went bam, 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 3 goals, Liverpool out, good night.
Work nothing, it's disgusting. Like, if it's not even because it's Liverpool, if it was anyone else, they will play like this, like I said, against Stockport County, Fleetwood Town, and all of the lower leagues. They will play like this all the time. Hope for something. And no one can say, oh, their team is not good. Their team is good enough. It's good enough. It's not good how they play football, and it just annoys me that you've got Jose Mourinho that has that played at teams who had decent players, exactly like how Atletico had, and everyone's like, oh, this is boring football, this is terrible, park the bus, whether he wins or loses. Atletico, they win, praise. They lose, praise. Oh, they're the lower. Stop it. No, stop. They are just good enough.
They're the underdog.
They're good enough to play football.
They're the underdog.
No, they're good enough for people to... Simeone's been doing this for a long time now. He's no underdog no more. Stop.
They sold their best player.
They are...
Griezmann, they just sold it.
How many finals they played?
By playing this way of football.
Carl, Neeks, even when they had Griezmann, they were still playing like this. They've had good teams and they still play like this, and this is why they should be getting this stick, and it's annoying that they're not getting this stick. I couldn't care less if it was I'm not mad that Liverpool didn't go through. I'm just mad that they are not getting the stick that they should be getting. Everyone's praising this football, but if it was Mourinho that did this, they'll be like, oh, park the bus, look how he's gotten through. That's exactly what would have happened. And they keep saying that, oh, the Athletic. They are not. They have got a good team. You can't complain about their players. Their players can go. Liverpool, you say Liverpool are the better team only because they blitzed the league this season. When they finished 4th, with pretty much some of the same players here or there.
2 years ago, and they're better than they were then. But go on, yeah.
Yeah, and who they brought in that change up? Van Dijk, Alisson, Fabinho. Does he play much?
He plays much. He's been
so
injured
those
this season,
two, you would say, are the changing point for Liverpool, right?
Yes. In terms of additional,
and Trent's so young, he's matured a lot.
But I was in terms of additional players. Oh yeah, because might be Nathaniel Klein back then.
Yeah, he was Klein.
But then,
Klein
then. Okay, those two have come in. Cool.
But this is what I'm trying to say.
Mane is better.
Now you can go. Yes,
players have improved.
But I'm trying to say, if you go look at their players side by side, it's just like whenever a team is winning. So like with Chelsea, when we won under Conte, some players look better than they are when you're in a winning team. And that is what happened. That's what's happening with Liverpool. Their midfield is dead. I'm sorry, it's dead. But they look.
Fabinho good, you know.
Is everything okay over there? Liverpool's midfield is dead. I'm sorry. And it looks good because they're playing really, really well. So you look at, everyone knows that. They say, just bypass the midfield, just get it to the front three. Their front three is what is carrying that team. Firmino doesn't even score. Man has his first goal in Anfield. In how long? Look, I'm telling you, there are key players in that Liverpool team that do the work, and everyone else just looks good around it. Trent runs down crosses in Hulk cross. Like, I'm sorry, but if you look at Atletico's team, you cannot say that they are below them. They are, I could say, it's just maybe not just as good, but they are. You can make some arguments for some of their players as well as Liverpool's players. If you take out what they've been winning and take away from the gloss of how they've had such a fantastic season and actually look at their players individually. Like Henderson, he's I don't know what the jury's out on him, but Wijnaldum, let's be serious. Firmino, let's be serious. Let's be really serious about these Liverpool players. They look better. So we cannot say that Atletico has a inferior squad to them. Atletico, I'm tired of them they're not underdogs. Simeone's been there long enough. That team is a big team. They just don't have. They're spending money. They may lose people. They're bringing people back in. So don't tell me anything about them being underdogs. They are not. And that is my issue I have with people with this Atletico team. No. I'm tired of it. They're not underdogs. They're not. And they need the stick. They need it.
I'm going to leave the final word with you, Carl. Atletico, you called it. You called it at the beginning. I don't know if it was in hope or expectation, but whatever it was, you called it. And they won. They won 4-2 on aggregate, 3-1 on take it away.
I'm loving it. I am absolutely loving it. And for all those, when I first said it, for all the people to hear, and I said it on Have Hope's little channel there, on the little cast, and I said, when he asked me, this draw has been made, we're just gonna go over it quickly because I think we're all in, agreeance that Liverpool's gonna knock out Atletico. And I was like, whoa, hold on a minute. Atletico's gonna win this. I mean, I didn't expect them to win both legs, but I mean, I expected them to go through. I was right. And I'll tell you why. I saw it as they are, like I said, if Liverpool had actually beaten Atletico, I would have said Liverpool's going to win Champions League, because Atletico is the only team that is Liverpool's direct counter. It is their weakness. They will beat every other team. They'll beat Man City, they'll beat Real Madrid, they'll beat Barcelona, they'll beat Bayern Munich, they'll beat Chelsea, whoever it was that made it through, Napoli or whoever it is. They'll beat them, hands down. They'll beat them and they will get back-to-back Champions League. Atletico is the only team that would beat them. Atletico's not going to win Champions League. I mean, no one is. COVID-19. But and I have to disagree with pretty much everything Javon said. You know? pretty much everything he said, because
feel free.
They were the underdogs, hence why everyone said Liverpool to go through. And when you're up against, like, I've played odd matches in football, right? And when you're up against it, right, sometimes you have to play a certain way. You have to play with your backs against the wall. Like, you're never gonna come out and you're gonna say, well, we're gonna match Liverpool for all their power, and we're gonna go out and we're gonna try and match them. You know what happens? You remember the opening game of the season? I think it was the opening game, maybe their second game, but they played Norwich, and Norwich tried to match Liverpool for what they had, and I think Timu Paki must have scored 1 or 2 goals.
I think he scored 1. I think,
yeah, 1 or 2. But their defence, it got absolutely pummeled. They got. I mean, Liverpool looked shaky at the back at the start of the season. They look shaky at the back, but going forward, you know, you're never going to outdo Liverpool unless you're Manchester City, who have the players at their disposal to match Liverpool going toe for toe. Honestly, it's not going to happen. You're literally fighting a losing battle. You're hoping for the best. Even Watford, who beat them 3-0. Now, you're not sat here saying negative football. Watford pretty much did the same thing. They sat back and soaked up what Liverpool had to offer and hit them on the counter. It's the same thing Atletico done.
They didn't hit them on no counter. It was bobbling in goals, man. But go on. Counters when they
by the way,
and
and I tell you why it was a game of football. Because a wise man once said to me, the ball is round. And I saw a round ball on that pitch. So it was a game of football, and anything can happen when the ball is round. Bobbling or a 30-yard screamer, it crossed the line. No, it crossed the line. Because what you have to realise is, the manager said to them, look, we're going to sit back. We have to soak up what they have to offer. We have no other way of playing because they are better than us. We are going to try and nick a goal, and we're going to see this out. First leg, it happened in the 4th minute. They got the goal in the 4th minute. Now, they're on the pitch and they're like, well, we're not going to go out and try and extend this lead. That's way too risky. Why do that and risk the chance of conceding an away goal? Let's keep it clean, boys. And what I saw out there was a defensive masterclass. Like, Liverpool didn't have a shot on target. Liverpool didn't know which way to look. You got Trent coming down there, just whipping across willingly, and their defense is soaking up the pressure.
They call it cross and inshallah.
Yeah, cross and inshallah. And Atletico, literally, they just knew what to do. It was absolute perfection. And you say, oh, they've got underdogs, they've got players to match Liverpool. They don't. If you look at their summer transfer, yes, they spent big. Some of the players aren't that great, and they've sold their best players. They sold Griezmann, they sold Hernandez, Golden left on a free, Juan Fran left. All of their best players left. So the players that they're working with now are not as good as the players that they had previously.
Finally, what about Javon's argument? Because I guess I completely agree, especially with this game, 100%. Part of Javon's argument is that regardless of who they play, this is how it always play. And there's games they will go into where they do have the better team, better players, but they will still play the same way, and they should be getting criticised. If not in this game, definitely in the other games.
That's the thing. They don't really play this way. Like, as defensive as we saw against Liverpool, they don't always play like that. If you look at La Liga this season, I mean, what are they, 4th or 5th in the league?
I think they might. Are they 4th? They might be 4th. They could be 5th. But then they carry on.
Yeah, they haven't been like. They very rarely keep a clean sheet these days because they're not as defensively strong, and they don't play as defensive because they don't have the players at their disposal. But because they're playing against Liverpool, they have no other option, because they're not going to be able. Sixth. They're not having a great season. They're not as defensive as they used to be. They're not that strong at the back, and they're having. This is why everyone said, "Oh, Liverpool are going to beat them because they're not able to score goals. Morata's not good enough. They've sold Griezmann. They're struggling to get goals, which they are, and they're also conceding at the back. They're dropping a lot of points because they're just not as good as they used to be. They are actually quite bad. And you're usually like this season that Barcelona and Real Madrid have had is so poor. You'd expect Atletico to be up there fighting for them for the title, but they are a long ways away because they are that. Literally, the whole of the league has just taken a couple steps backwards. Like, it's not that good. Atletico aren't that good. And they've come with a game plan knowing that, okay, we're not as good as we used to be. Like I said, lost Griezmann, lost Hernandez, lost Godin, Juan Ferran, etc. And we have to play this way because if we play any other way, Liverpool are going to trounce us. We've been conceding goals left, right and centre without the ability to react and score goals to get us out of a sticky situation. Like one of their last games where they drew 2-2, went 1-0 up, got pegged back 1-1, went 2-1 up, got pegged back 2-2. They don't have the strike force to score 3 or 4, or they don't have the defence to see out games. So they've had to come with this game plan. They've absolutely had to come with this game plan. They're not as good as they used to be.
Well, guys, let me know what you think. Defensive masterclass or negative football?